happy that you're along for the ride with us on this beautiful Friday evening for the final round of this iRacing season. I am your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside with me in the commentary booth is Ewan O'Leary with Hugo Louise down in the virtual production trailer. And Ewan, we have gone through 11 weeks of action. We go into week number 12, the final one of this iRacing 2021 Season 3. We're going to see who is the top dog when it comes to this official F3 series at the end of this race. And I think we're also going to see one of the most exciting races of the season from virtual Silverstone.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. Silverstone's a fantastic circuit to drive, and it's a pretty good one to race on as well, especially in these cars. So we're very much looking forward to it. We're hopefully going to see Flavio Dantas and Adrian Falcon battling it out at the front, but we're only wishing at this point. Let's hope that they're both going to be right up towards the front. I'm certainly hoping so, because just look at that. Falcon and Dantas separated by 3 points heading into the final week of the season.
And you can see that 3-point difference is going to come down to the wire when it comes to this season. No slouch from Benitez, Dreza, and Wagner rounding out the top 5. Just not close up to that top spot. And a pretty close battle further back. Felipe Dantas, Paulo Dreza, Flavio Dantas' alter account, I should say. Rod Clenard and Dario Agnello rounding out the top 10 here in the point standings. But first times coming in, it's Hyman at the front of the field. Gioacchino goes up into third for the moment, now down to fourth. Benitez is going to take the top spot for the moment as everybody continues to work across the start-finish line. Still Benitez with that fastest time. Gabriel Bortoleto going to go down into 10th. Jose Copland up into P2 as the first times come in. Where's Falcon going to be? And he's going to go right up to the top of the board at 150.916. Now the question is, how is everybody else going to fare? As right now, Dreza a little bit further back in P7. Flavio Dantas provisionally 10th on that first lap.
Yeah, that is not a good lap time at all from Flavio Dantas early on, so he's clearly going to need a very good second lap time, but it can be sometimes difficult to pick yourself up after a lap time like that. You really do have to change the pace, and it can be very difficult to actually do that. But looking at the front two right now, they are streaks ahead of the rest of the field. We very rarely see that. Falcon and Bocelli nearly half a second clear of the field. That is a very, very rare occurrence indeed.
What good lap times from both Falcon and Bocelli. Dantas gonna work his way into maggots, and we'll see what that 3 car can do on this second lap. There's a good look at Dantas now, making his way out of Chapel down the hangar straight. Is it going to be enough to take over that top spot? Let's find out as he works his way through Stowe. We'll go down the hill to Vale into the final couple of corners, then across the line on the Hamilton straight. Let's see what Dantas can do. Wow, Hyman gonna throw a wrench into it though. A 150.482, 4/10 of a second faster than Adrian Falcon. Wagner's gonna go up the field now. What can Dantas do as he comes across the start-finish line? Is he gonna go fastest? No, he cannot. Only enough for P7, a 150.825. You're on board with the 17, and Will Redford as Gabriel Bortoleto goes to the top of the board.
Yeah, very impressive lap time from Bortoleto. Bocelli as well up there. Falcon goes into second place. Only 13 thousandths of a second off, but he's on the front row. Flavio Dantas, absolute disaster. He's only 3 tenths down, but he's in 12th place right now.
Let's see what Redford can do as he works his way to the old front straightaway, the old pit straight, working his way down into Copse. Obviously famous in 2021 for the contact in between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. As he exits that corner, he'll go down to Maggots, and that gets at the tail end of this straightaway. How good is this lap going to be from Redford to improve on his first time, who that was disallowed? So we'll see what that best time is going to be. But everybody else across the line well and good. And Gabriel Bortoleto, an impressive qualifying effort from the 15 machine, 150.453. Adrian Falcon able to only be about 13 1,000th of a second back from there in P2. Tobias Olsen goes up to P14. Claudio Vesparelli sits in 19th for the moment. And as Will Redford comes across the line, we'll take a short break here on RaceSpotTV. Starting grid for for the final race of the season is coming up next. What a pole for Gabriel Bortoleto. He sits at the top of the board with a 150.453. It's Adrian Falcon to his outside in P2. Ricardo Baccelli and Raul Hyman share that second row with Connor Bell, Paulo Dreta rounding out the first 6 spots. Alex Dunn, Ralph Benitez on the 4th row. Connor Wagner, Felipe Dantas in 10th. Jose Copland, Flavio Dantas rounding out the top 12 positions halfway through the field as we go back down from there. David Holland, Tobias Olsen on row 7. Thiago Spencer rounding out the top 15 with Rob Clinard alongside. Max Giacchino and Diego Acevedo on that first 18 spots, and Will Redford, Claudio Vesparelli, Lubo Schweitz going to be the last driver to take time. Back from there, Colin Chin, Felipe Pascal, and Ben Cullen. His last question mark quest continues, and we know Ben Cullen is a chat favorite here on RaceSpotTV, so make sure to show your support for Ben Cullen and all the other drivers in the field in the chat room tonight. But Ewan, final race of the season, Silverstone. A lot of unknowns when it comes to this track. Obviously had an update a while back here on iRacing to the newest Silverstone layout, but everybody knows Silverstone is a fan favorite, driver favorite. We're going to see some good racing.
Yeah, we are. It's a fantastic layout, and I think it's going to provide some fantastic racing. Obviously, we've got a championship on the line pretty much here tonight. Obviously, it's going to work out through the week, but yeah, Falcon versus Dantas. At the moment, Falcon's on the front row, so he's taking a step forward in that respect, but there's a long race coming up, and a lot's about to happen, so let's see if he can hold on.
We'll see indeed. Just waiting on a handful of more drivers to make to the grid, and that is going to be all the drivers who will take the start here from Silverstone. The final race of the Apex Racing Academy official F3 Championship in iRacing 2021 Season 3 is underway. The lights go green, and they're already going to be battling down into 1. Falcon's going to take the lead from Bortoleto. Bortoleto's going to fall back a little bit into a battle for second place in between himself and Hyman. They're continuing to fight in the back. Will Redford gets a shot. He's going to go off track. Felipe Pascal as well with damage. Lupo Schweitz is also going to go around. Max Giacchino with a spin. They continue to race on. Bortoleto retakes the lead away from Falcon. Falcon going to have a bit of pressure from Raul Hyman back there in 3rd. But as they race on, down to the inside goes Hyman.
Let's see if he can make it work here. Falcon getting his ears boxed just a little bit, trying to head down the inside. Everybody is steaming up his inside into Brooklands now. He's able to hold on, and through Luffield he'll have the inside line, so he might as well just hold on. But what a great dive from Gabriel Bortoleto to take the lead away from Falcon and retake the lead of this race. It was absolutely fantastic. To be fair to Falcon, he gave him the room, but maybe gave him a little bit too much room. He's been very cautious in these opening laps, and he's lost a couple of spaces because of it.
They continue to work their way now through Maggots, and you can see everybody fighting back here. Everybody scrapping for positions as they work their way through lap number 1. Through Beckett's, through Chapel, onto the hangar, straight they go. Everybody now going to settle out the single file, still running close together, and Bortoleto snaking the field down the straightaway. Shades of an Indy car, the Indy 500, as they'll dive into Stowe this time. A move being made a little bit further back. Side-by-side battle. That's Wagner in the 10, grabbing 7th on Paulo Dreta. Will Redford loses another spot. He was caught up in a lap 1 incident, as Paulo Dreta going to lose a handful more spots on the outside in the 8. Looked like a bit of just that car getting loose coming off of Stowe, and that sent him way wide, going to go down into P10.
Yeah, Will Redford is in pit lane, as you say, but yeah, Paolo Drater just got it a bit wrong, really, through Stowe, and he's really paid the price for that one. Adrian Falcon continues to lose a few places, though he's not even inside the top 3, I don't think, anymore, because Dunn has got through into 4th place. Flavio Dantas has made a pretty good start, though. He's up into 8th right now, which is pretty good, as well as Royal Hyman, who's made a good start here, right on the back of Gabriel Bortoleto. Hyman, of course, trying to win his home race and trying to win the second race of this season, his second race of this season, should I say.
Can he get this win? He's all over that back wing. Here's the issue that happened on the first lap. You can see a couple of drivers making contact and then one driver getting turned around backwards into the gravel trap. The driver that went backwards flying through the gravel was Max Giacchino, who currently sits in P24 out of this race in the pit lane. Tobias Olsen's also in the pit lane. Will Redford now out of the pit lane as we go on board with Connor Bell, looking to get around Ricardo Kelly as they work their way through Beckett's, through Chapel, down the hanger straight they'll go. And everybody now still relatively close together, Owen, but what we've seen in this series is once you get into a certain bubble of air behind another car, it takes a mistake to be able to close that gap. Slipstream, not really a talking point when it comes to Silverstone, but we do have some long straightaways that it can be useful.
Yeah, we do have some fairly long straights, but the problem is the corners afterwards are not that significant, really. You think about Copse, it's not a particularly good corner for overtaking. Brooklyn's okay, you are on the brakes for a fair amount of time, but it's still not fantastic. And then Stowe, once again, you're not on the brakes for very long, which is not great news for overtaking. And also the aero wash on these cars is a little bit more than I initially suspected. We were on board with Connor Bell there in 6th place, and he's got 5 cars in front of him who's really feeling the effects of that, actually. And really struggling to go through Maggotts and Beckett's at his normal pace. So that is going to be a big factor. It's going to be difficult to take this. And I was going to say, as Falcon took the lead early on, that's the last thing you really want, and he was going to win the race from there, but he's not had things his own way, and we do very much have a race on for the lead.
Battle further back. You're currently on board with Ralph Benitez in the 7 machine, looking up at the battle between P6 and 7. That's Connor Wagner in P6, Connor Bell in P7. We were on board with a little bit earlier on. Flavio Dantas involved in this fight as well. Paulo Drates at the tail end of it. A little bit of tires onto the grass. One driver, that was Connor Wagner, going a bit wide as they exit their way through Copse Corner. Back into Maggotts, and you can see it gets very tight down here in these couple of corners. No passes being made. This is one of the main passing zones I think we're going to see. When it's a DRS zone for Formula 1 for a reason down the hanger straight. It is one of the longest straightaways that we have on this circuit, longer than the main straight. Heading down into Stowe could be an overtaking opportunity, as we see trying to get that move made was Flavio Dantas. Couldn't do it on Connor Bell.
As Hyman is really struggling. He's clearly made a mistake somewhere, because Bortoleto's leading by a second all of a sudden, and Raoul Hyman has been demoted to 3rd because Dunn has just got through. This could allow Bortoleto to get away, but yeah, contact on the front straight. That was a bit unnecessary, but we're seeing now in the middle pack, the mid part of the pack, we are getting those battles, and into Stowe definitely we are going to see these fights really develop. That's where it's all going to spark from, and the best thing about Silverstone really is that you have that chicane just afterwards, and then these sections of corners not too long after that, so the battles really can continue on for pretty much half a lap.
We saw that contact coming down the Hamilton straight. No damage to either one of those cars. Luckily, no incidents as well. Gabriel Bortoleto sets the fastest lap last time by a 150.929. And after originally losing the lead on the opening lap, able to gain it back, he is looking stout at the front of the field. Alex Dunn, while Hyman sitting 2nd and 3rd. Let's see if Hyman can make a move back on Dunn to get 2nd place back. Does he go to the inside and Copse? No, he does not. He will stay in P3 for the moment. But going wide off of that corner is Alex Dunn. He's going to need to watch that a little bit, Owen. There's a good bit of runoff at that corner, but you go a little bit too far off when you're coming back on. You might hit one of those curbs and get flown up into the air, spin around coming out of Stowe.
Yeah, we've already seen that a lot of people are going out very, very wide through Copse especially, and it's yeah, a little bit, well, you're not really allowed to, but obviously these guys are willing to navigate the curbs and whatever and try and get away with it. So, yeah, it's just the way Silverstone's become really in the last few years. A lot of runoff here, and clearly some of these guys exploiting it, maybe a little bit too much, but hey, they're all still here at the moment, and we can't complain about that because they're all doing it. I guess it's not really unfair on anybody.
As they work their way now, we put 4 laps behind us, go on to lap number 5. Only 14 laps on the docket for tonight, so we already have 10 laps to go. And with 2-minute lap times, roughly a little bit less than that, 10 seconds less, about 1:50 average lap time for the guys at the front. 1:51 seems to be the average across the most of the field, but it's still a fairly long race. When you think about Silverstone, you're not really thinking about it being a long circuit, but for these F3 cars who coming down the straightaway of the Wellington Straight into Brooklands, reaching about a max speed of 145, it becomes a bit of a short sprint marathon. If we were to go any more laps like the normal 20 we usually have in this series, it would be a relatively long race at this racetrack.
Yeah, I think the laps, though, are definitely tailored to the length of the circuit, so it shouldn't be much longer for these guys than it would be normally. And anyway, even adding another 5 minutes onto one of these races is not really going to put the realms of mental and physical fatigue onto these guys, because it's just second nature to them almost, as Kellen Chin goes through on Spencer into Copse there, so it can be done. Overtaking into Copse is just very difficult indeed, and especially difficult when the guys are half a second back from each other, like we see in the front group. Nobody's really applying the pressure here. They're all so similar on the pace that it's actually difficult to go anywhere.
We still have a good bit of time left in this race to see these battles continue to develop. Hyman able to keep Dunn reeled in, and as we go further back to the battle between the 6th place car, Connor Wagner, 3rd place, or 7th place, the number 3 machine, Flavio Dantas, Connor Bell in the 16 and 8th, Paulo Dreiza rounding out the top 10 in the number 8 machine in 10th. They're keeping each other reeled in, sort of just buying time, waiting for the move to come relatively easily, because like you mentioned, Owen, they don't want to go diving it into a corner, as we see Raul Hyman do almost exactly that through Village, and he's able to take over second place. What can Dunn now say about this? Like I said, they don't really like to make the moves when they're so far back, but Raul Hyman saw Alex Dunn open the door. Dunn giving a bit of a slam to the back wing of the number 5 machine of Raul Hyman as they go into Brooklands in Luffield, but Dunn keeping him reeled in. Can he get that pass made back into Copse? Here's the move going down into the corner of Village. That door just opened up a little bit, Ellen, and it's right there.
Well, yeah, Alex Dunn didn't seem to be too displeased that Raul Hyman was going through, though. He seemed to let him have that one a little bit. Was quite early on the brakes, if we're honest, and did just let Hyman turn in where he wanted to and let him go through, basically. So there wasn't too much of an argument about that one, really. A little bit surprising, but I guess they're going for a race win, both of them, and if they start fighting with each other a little bit too much, then they're never going to be able to win it, and it's exactly what's happened in this battle for 6th. So many guys battling really hard over this position that nobody's been able to get up towards the front, and they're not going to get up towards the podium spaces, no doubt about that. But Flavio Dantas is going to try and get all he can from this race. 6th place for him now. Connor Wagner can't do anything at all. Well, I say that, he's going to try and do a cutback maybe, but Flavio Dantas is really on a mission after a poor qualifying.
That is going to put the Connors right back together. Wagner and Bell, 7th and 8th. Jose Copland makes a move on his teammate Thiago Spencer back for P15. And everything stables out as Raul Hyman sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:50.387. Last time by about a 10th and a half quicker than your current race leader, Gabriel Bortoletto. And when you said earlier on, a battle for the lead was on our hands, and I do think we have a bit of a long battle for the lead developing here. 8 laps to go. Definitely think over 8 laps this will continue to develop, and we're going to see a close race towards the end. But Hyman needs to break free of Alex Dunn breathing down his neck on his rear wing, because if Alex Dunn sees an opening, you gotta think he's gonna go for that pass like Hyman did on him. And don't count out Adrian Falcon and Ricardo but Kelly rounding out the top 5. They're still sitting back there waiting on their moment to pounce.
Well, it really depends what Alex Dunn is going to do here. If he battles with Raoul Hyman, then Hyman does need to get rid of him, and he is going to be a problem. But if not, then he can just not get distracted. Don't look in the mirrors, just keep your eyes forward and chase down Bortoleto. You're not going to be taking chunks of time out of the car in front. You really can't do that in this series, especially as Alex Dunn's giving it another go. He's not going to be able to do anything into Stowe now, but yeah, you're not going to be able to take chunks of time out of your rival like we see in other series. So he's got to do it over a long period of time. It's all well and good setting the fastest lap of the race once for Raoul Hyman, but he needs to do it again and again and again. And even only catching 1/10 a lap, that's still going to take him right up to the end of the race, where he's even got a shot at overtaking. So we talk about it being a fairly long race compared to normal and all this, but he's already running out of time. He needs to start closing this gap down.
Let's see if that gap can continue to close on in for that race lead. Gap that has closed in. Connor Bell on Connor Wagner. 2 teammates racing into turn number 1 and 2. Abbey and Farm into Village they go. No opening!
Oh.
He tries to make one and it's contact! The 16er Connor Bell gets thrown off the racetrack. That was contact with, I believe, the 7er Ralph Benitez. Yes, it was. Benitez went for a move and he slammed Connor Bell off of the track in the 16. Here's the replay. There's the contact and it throws the 16 off the track. Down to P13 goes Bell.
I'm not convinced Benitez was going for a move there at all. I think he just got a little bit too late on the brakes and then realised his mistake, tried to get out of the way, but it was just a little bit too late. And in the end, Connor Bell sent spinning around. Real unfortunate for Bell because he was right up there battling possibly to get inside that top 6 position that they've all been fighting for, but he's certainly not going to be able to do that now. A real shame, and yeah, I think complete accident on Benitez's part. He definitely wasn't going for a move there, in my opinion.
Unfortunate for both of them because now Ralph Benitez is gonna have damage to that front wing. Undoubtedly, Connor Bell might have gotten lucky, no damage to that car, but definitely got shunted off. Definitely have to think those tires might be hurting a little bit. We don't talk too much about tire wear here in Formula 3, but going through a spin and when those tires are gonna heat up insanely quickly, he could be dealing with some tire effects now as he tries to fight back from 13th.
Yeah, he could be, but I think he'll be okay. As you mentioned, these cars quite light on their feet, and I know this is one of the most high-stress circuits there is on our calendar this season, but I still don't think it's going to be a real problem for him because, yeah, these cars are so light, and they're not the most tyre-sensitive cars on iRacing, let's put it that way. So I think he'll be okay, and I'm sure this isn't the first time it's happened either. He will know how to deal with it as well.
He'll have to continue dealing with any issues he might have, and we'll see over the develop of this race if Connor Bell is able to work his way back up through the field, if he does have any sort of issues that he is dealing with the tires as they work their way back through the Brooklands, through Luffield. Raoul Hyman sitting in 2nd place. Alex Dunn is still right there in 2nd, but Gabriel Bortoleto, I don't want to say checked out, Ellen, because he is still 1.2 seconds ahead of Raoul Hyman. That is not a huge gap for the lead. One minor mistake could close that gap by about half for Raoul Hyman. One major mistake could lead Raoul Hyman to be fighting for the race lead just like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is quite close, but when you think about the context of this race and these cars and whatever, that is an impressive gap for Bortoleto to have actually produced here, and I think that Hyman and Dunn are going to stop battling over 2nd before long. I think he has set sail here. You say he's not quite checked out, but he's certainly near the door, and he's got them at arm's length, really, at this point. Hyman is definitely being held at arm's length right now, and I would be surprised if he could get back in contention for this race win.
You can see that gap just still closing in between Hyman and Dunn. Remember the move Raoul Hyman made on Alex Dunn. It was going down into Village. off of the farm corner. You can see they're coming up to it now as Bortoleto puts the fastest lap in of the race, working their way now through farm. Here's Village. This is where Hyman sent it up the inside of Dunn. Dunn went a little bit wide on the entry. Hyman saw that opportunity to make that pass, and that is exactly what he did. That puts him up to P2. I have to think, Owen, that Alex Dunn is willing to do something like that because he had it done to him by Raul Hyman, but I could be wrong. Alex Dunn looking pretty comfortable to sit there in third, but I think he's just buying his time, waiting for a door to open, and then once it's open, just a crack, slamming it open, making that pass.
Yeah, I think Dunn is certainly close enough to be making that move at turn 3 that we've seen so often. He's very, very close to Hyman, as you say, and he's more than capable of making that dive. I think he's just still got designs on actually winning this race, and he realises that Bortoleto's not going to come back if he and Hyman start battling seriously for second place. So I think in a couple of laps' time, Dunn is going to be going for those kind of moves. But for now, while there's still a few laps left in the race and the hope is still there, it still will be there for those two. I think he's just going to hold off for the moment, and then when they're resigned to battling for second place, then he'll strike, and he's certainly good enough to do it.
Well, just like that, 5 laps to go, and also just like that, it'll be 4 to go when they come across the line as your leader, Gabriel Bortoleto, exits Stowe, goes down through Vale, through the chicane, and into Club, and across the line on the Hamilton Straight. There's a good look at your race leader. What a dominant race so far from Bortoleto. Let's see if he can hold on. It's 4 to go at the line. Here in the final race of the season for the Apex Racing Academy official F3 Championship. We thank all of you for tuning in throughout the 12 weeks of action. And it has been a very fun one to call, as here goes Alex Dunn. Does he see an opening on the inside? Not going to take it. He'll stay right in the slipstream of Raul Hyman as they work their way through the loop and into entry. Down the Wellington Straight they'll go. Can he use the slipstream and make a pass going into Brooklands? Going to be tough. We haven't seen anybody really make a successful move into Brooklyn so far this race, and Dunn is not going to be the first as he stays behind Hyman.
Now, we certainly haven't, after the start of the race, it's a little bit different at the start, but yeah, we've not really seen that much into Brooklands, which I am surprised about. We've seen a little bit more into turn 3 than I was expecting, certainly, and Stowe Corner as well. But yeah, surely the moment is coming for these two. 3 laps at the line. They're seeing Bortoleto continue to stretch out this margin. They tried Hyman in front now, and they've tried Alex Dunn in front as well, towing the two of them, and they couldn't just make any inroads at all with either of them actually setting the pace. So yeah, full credit to Bortoleto. We're not quite giving him enough credit. He is very, very quick right now, because Hyman and Dunn are actually leaving Adrian Falcon and Bocelli behind right now in their pursuit of Bortoleto, but they're still not catching him despite dropping completely everybody else. They just can't get to the leader right now. So yeah, very impressive drive from the 15 at the moment, and these two are going to put on an entertaining show for second in a few laps, I think.
Time quickly winding down here from virtual Silverstone. Connor Bell able to make a move on Rod Clinard. That is the first move he has made since that incident. And working his way through the middle of the corner now, he has Colin Shin in front of him. Can he make another move? Rod Clinard now behind in P13. Jose Copland in P14. It's awesome. Fans of Jose Copland in the chat. Currently running in 14th, down 3 spots from where he started in P11, trying to climb his way back as they run their way into turn 3 of Village. They'll stay single file as Colin Shin leads this line. Connor Bell looking for a way back by.
Yeah, he is at the moment. This is a nice full car battle, actually. It seems to be pretty entertaining, but yeah, Connor Bell's going to be very disappointed with how today's gone, given the pace that he's clearly got. Just that spin, of course, has demoted him outside of the top 8. They're all deciding to stay single file. Clinard actually lost a couple of spots in that last lap, by the way, because Gin and Bell both were getting through on that last lap. So yeah, they've both managed to overtake Clinard, who didn't have a very good lap 11, I'm afraid, losing those two places. But yeah, it's one of these midfield battles that we often see in this championship, and it's probably going to go until the end of the race.
already 3 laps to go as the lap counter continues to run down. Bortoleto is running his way down the hangar straight. We're going to quickly go to 2 laps remaining here from virtual Silverstone. Battles will fizzle out. The question is, how is everybody going to finish across the start-finish line? Battle between Colin Shin now and Connor Bell entering the Stowe corner off the hangar straight. Running close together. You're on board with Bell. Bell gonna try and peek out, but the door is going to be shut by Colin Shin as Bell looks for P11 once again. Remember, trying to fight back off of an incident earlier on in contact with Ralph Benitez heading into Village.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he's picked up any damage, and well, certainly no visible damage, and it's certainly not affecting him right now either, Connor Bell. So yeah, he's doing all right considering the issue, and I guess getting up to 11th place would be pretty much the best he can manage after all of this, which is still going to be disappointing for him, but he's still going to have done himself proud by fighting through the field here once again. Adrian Falcon's still in 4th place, by the way, and Flavio Dantas still in 6th, and you just wonder what Dantas could have done if he didn't qualify so poorly, because he's fought his way through the field really well. He's Conor Wagner is in the rearview mirror now, and he's catching the leaders, but that poor qualifying, it's really cost him, possibly cost him a championship here tonight.
Talking about biggest movers of this race as we go on to 2 laps to go. Gotta talk about Colin Shin, up 11 spots where he started now in P11. So started back in 22nd, climbed his way through the field even with the drama in turn number 1. Great run this race for that number 12 machine, but working their way, you can see the battles. We go on board with Rod Clinard trying to get around Jose Copland in the 11. They'll go side by side and now tucking right back into the slipstream as they race down the hangar straight, coming out of the chicane and through club back to the Hamilton straight. White flag will be displayed for Gabriel Bortoleto, trying to walk away with his first win of the season in the penultimate round as they dive into the final chicane. Clinard not able to get close enough to Copland.
No, not on this occasion, but Connor Bell did get through on Chin here, and there's how he did it, straight down the inside into Stowe, and it was a very easy move in the end, actually. Yeah, fair play. He's managed to get that done without too much trouble. Bortoleto still leads by a fair weight. Raoul Hyman has just diffused some of the pressure from Alex Dunn, but Falcon and Bocelli are not that far behind one another going into Brooklands at the moment. Bocelli might give it a go, but I think he's just that little bit too far back for the moment. Yeah, this has been absolutely fantastic from Bortoleto, and yeah, he's completely decimated the field. He got into the lead, and then once he really started to flex his muscles and show the kind of pace that he had, then there was absolutely no beating him. Neither Hyman nor Dunn could get anywhere near him.
And he is looking for a walk-off victory from Silverstone. Remember, on the first lap, he got passed for the lead by Raoul Hyman, and then on the same lap, retook that spot and has led ever since. The fastest lap in qualifying, and as he works his way down the hangar straight, looking to complete a perfect day here in Silverstone. He earned the fastest lap in qualifying, and as he works his way through Stowe, he has the fastest current lap of the race, and he is looking to take the checkered flag for a perfect race from Silverstone through the final chicane, through club, and back to the Hamilton straight. It's Gabriel Bortoleto winning the season finale for the Apex Racing Academy official F3 championship. Hyman and Dunn rounding out the podium spots as Falcon and Bekele come across for top 5.
Yeah, great results from all of those guys. Flavio Dantas is going to be very disappointed with 6th place in the end, and a couple of others who are going to be disappointed, like Connor Bell, we just saw over the line. 11th place for him. It could have been so much more by the end, but yeah, in the end, a dominant performance from Bortoleto, and Hyman coming second in his home race. He might be a little bit disappointed, but in the end, I don't think he can be too down on himself. Bortoleto was just that little bit better on the day.
Colin Chin comes home P12. Bell was able to get around 10 spots up for that number 12 machine today. A great run for Chin. As we get ready to take a look top to bottom at your full race results here from Silverstone. What a day for Gabriel Bortoleto. The Brazilian takes home the win. 2 UK drivers back in their home race. Hyman and Dunn round out the podium spots. Adrian Falcon, Ricardo Bukele rounding out the top 5. Flavio Dantas in 6th. Connor Wagner 7th, Ralph Benitez in 8th, Paulo Dreyta at 9th, with Felipe Dantas rounding out the top 10 spots. Back from there, it's Connor Bell in 11th, Colin Chin in 12th, Rod Clinard 13th, Jose Copland 14th, with Diego Acevedo rounding out your top 15, with Thiago Spencer, David Holland, Ben Cullen, Felipe Pascol, and Claudio Visparelli rounding out the top 20 spots, with Max Giacchino, Lupo Schweitz, Will Redford, and Tobias Olsen all caught up in incidents. They finish in the last 4 spots. So, Owen, concluding a season now here at Silverstone. Don't think it disappointed either one of us. An exciting race here from the UK. And as we put a bookend to this season, it was exciting from top to bottom. We saw a variety of different tracks, and I think the F3 community on iRacing continues to show that they are strong, have a lot of great racers, and are looking to continue this momentum heading into the future iRacing seasons.
Yeah, exactly. One more coming up before the end of the year, and it's a fantastic combination. These tracks have been very well selected. I have to say the car is really good as well. By the way, it's very, very nice indeed. So yeah, it's been a fantastic season. I've very much enjoyed watching it, commentating on it, and so on and so on. We've had 7 different winners this season, by the way, which is absolutely fantastic from a 12 race calendar. So yeah, I've very much enjoyed it. I hope everybody else has enjoyed it as much as we have at home.
We saw a good handful of real-life racers as well that are coming up through the ranks. One driver who normally races in the F3 Championship, we might have saw him 1 or 2 times this season, Enzo Fittipaldi, of course, just getting a ride in Formula 2. That is how great this Formula 3 community is. Drivers from the real life in Formula 3, Formula 2 coming in here to race, and the best of the sim looking to sharpen their skills. And remember, you can race this series. It is an official iRacing series. Class C road license is all you need, and you can go racing in the Apex Racing Academy official F3 Championship. For Hugo Louise, Ellen O'Leary, my name is Joshua Lee. We thank you for joining us all season long for the Apex Racing Academy official F3 Championship on RaceSpotTV, and we thank you for tuning in tonight from Silverstone. We're saying good night from England.